Hello and welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room for this week's edition of the Transfer Central Show. Big one today, Darwin Nunez, pretty much on everybody's lips. There's apparently 23 people in here already, so make sure you are leaving a like on the video and subscribe. But joined with Matty, Jay, Tino. Matty, start with you. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. It's always good to see Liverpool bringing someone in. It's a statement, I think, as well. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, I'm doing good, doing good.
Tino, yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I came home from work. I missed everything during the day. Came home from work and saw an abundance of Liverpool transfer news. So I'm very, very excited to see what happens in the coming weeks to months with all the news coming. So yeah, very excited.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, I know you wanted Nkunku, but looks like we are getting Nunez. So, how are you doing today?
All good, mate. We're still getting a young, exciting player, and if Klopp's happy with him, then it tells you everything, to be honest. He knows a striker, and it's even sweeter that we're getting him over United.
Yeah, definitely. Again, there's 40 people in here, like probably the most we've had in the first minute of a stream. So please make sure you leave a like on the video. Also, if you are new to the channel, I know there's probably a lot of new people joining, make sure you do subscribe. Also, I do just want to mention, I know a lot of regulars might not know, but we have now set up our membership on the channel. So next to subscribe, it'll say join. If you want to donate to the channel and, you know, you can have a cool name, cool little badge next to your name. I think if Louis in here, Louis can show it off. There he is. Yeah, right there. So you'll have that next to your name and you can check out all the other badges just for people who want to. Again, as I always say, every penny that anyone donates to the channel gets put right back into it. We are creating content for you guys, so we don't take any of the proceeds, but in the future there'll be more exclusive stuff for members. At the moment it's just a sort of work in progress thing that we are doing. But hello to everyone joining: Anthony, Jen, Helio, Cedric, David, El Diablo, a lot of regulars, a lot of new faces in here. So shall we start off with what everyone's talking about, or shall we leave that till the end? Let's start off with it. I usually leave the big stuff to the end, but I think everyone's a bit too excited not to talk about it. Matty, Darwin Nunez. It was a typical Liverpool transfer. It got said this morning, and by the end of the day, it pretty much looks like it's done. You know, you love to see how our club operates, don't you? And as Jay said, getting him over United is always that extra sweetness, isn't it?
Yeah, it is good to get one over on United. I think Champions League football is a big factor as well, which they haven't got again. But I'm excited by it, to be honest with you. There's only been a few players that came to Anfield and you've took notice of really and been like, he's special in. But one of them was Minamino. So I'm just not gonna hope too much. But with the fact we're spending 100 million, close to 100 million euros on him, you've got to trust Klopp and our recruitment department. We very, very rarely get it wrong. And if you think of our other big money signings, it's like Alisson, Van Dijk, Luis Diaz with his add-ons. I think that goes like 40 odd million. Jota. So all the players what we've spent decent money on, I've paid off, and this is going to smash our transfer record, isn't it? But
yeah. If it's over 75, yeah.
It's 80 odd million pounds, isn't it? So also to smash the record, you've got to trust Klopp. You've got to, and I think he's gonna have to be world class coming in for that sort of money. He's got to be.
Yeah, Jen, as usual, appreciate everything that you do for the channel. This will go back into the channel, and we'll produce more content with all of the contributions that we get. But Tino, as Iddy has pointed out here, we've talked a lot about Darwin Nunez on this channel, and I think the vast majority of people, if that I can remember, said for the price tag, it's a massive risk. I think we probably all still stand by that. That's the point, but you can't not be excited when we're signing a new player, especially the fact that Klopp has been given 100 million to sign him. He clearly rates him, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he certainly does. He said that in plenty of interviews when we played them, when he scored against us. He said that in a couple of interviews that he's a very exciting, very quick, young lad, and without question, without shadow of a doubt, it is a risk. It's a lot of money to pay for a very young guy. But when you look at his stats, you look at what he's achieved: 34 goals in 41 games last season. In his first season in Benfica, he got, I think it was like 12 and 13 in 43 in terms of goals and assists. You look at his stats, you look at what he's done in the big games, and you can't not be excited. He's such a talented young player, and for Liverpool to be spending that amount of money on him clearly shows we mean business, and clearly shows that we are planning long term for without Salah, without Sadio Mane, and how reliant we are on them. He's a very, very, very talented young player. He's got a goal contribution last season of just over, I think it's every 70 minutes, which is an unbelievable stat. And the fact that we've reported of saying business and had bids in already, and when you've got someone like Paul Joyce out there confirming that we are interested in him, it gets me excited. It really gets me excited.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, as Tino said there, I think the exact number is he's got 1.12 goal contributions per 90 minutes for Benfica this season. I feel like it's 26 goals in 28 games, or 24 goals, and no, it's 26 and 28 for Benfica. So, you know, Luis Diaz has done amazing since joining the Portuguese league, and we've seen how Portuguese players have adapted to the Premier League in the past. Should we be excited about this guy? Should we be expecting massive things from the get-go?
Look, I had my reservations about him, to be honest, before we signed him, but if Jurgen Klopp's happy to spend 100 million on a striker, believe me, he's done his research on it, and it'll work out a success, mate. If you look at Klopp's track record, even at Dortmund, Lewandowski, Aubameyang, Salah, Mane, Jota, every time I don't want to tempt fate here, but when he signs attacking players, mate, he usually gets it right, and I think the fact that he's happy to make it a record transfer deal tells you everything about the transfer. I did have my reservations, but I'm not Jurgen Klopp, and he knows a lot more than me. So I'm putting 100% faith in him, mate. I think, obviously, Klopp's seen something he really likes to spend that amount of money on him.
Yeah, Matty, I think, you know, we did all have our reservations. There's probably, Darwin Nunez probably wasn't on the top of most people's lists, was he? You know, we've spoke about it here. He's a very raw talent. We saw, and honestly as well, I can say that I've only seen him play twice, at 2 whole 90 minutes, and I think a large majority, probably 98% of Liverpool fans have not seen him play more than 2 games. Those 2 games being against Liverpool, you know. But even though he wasn't on the top of our list, he was still high up. And, you know, Virgil van Dijk was quoted after the Champions League, comparing him to the likes of Lewandowski and Erling Haaland. You know, he was the second fastest player in the Champions League last season. He's 6'2". I mean, him on the end of Trent Balls next season is going to be, it's going to be something we haven't experienced, because we haven't had a striker since Klopp has took over, has he? Have we?
No, and there's Bojack's in the comments saying about like Andy Carroll having good stats before he came to us. It's Liverpool have learned a lot since FSGs came in. We've learned a lot with our transfers. We had made a few mistakes earlier on, but there's no transfer that I can't think of that's been a success in recent years. Even Takumi Minamino, if we go and sell him for £17 million, you cannot say that transfer was not a success, because the club has made, 10 million on him, something like that. So we have learned from transfers, and like Jay said, if Klopp prepared to spend 100 million on him, he's going to be world class. And what we've got to realise this is the first time Liverpool have had an out-and-out attacker since Luis Suarez, in terms of an out-and-out number 9 goal scorer. That's the first time we've had it. So coming in to this side, when you've got the likes of Trenton that pinging balls into you, Thiago pinging balls into your Robbo, we've been crying out all season for a plan B in these low block sides. And you've got a 6'2" striker coming in who you can just say stand on that penalty spot there and don't move in this whole 90 minutes against your teams like Chelsea's and stuff like that. If they're going to play low block, it's what we've been needing, and I'm confident with it. I mean, I've only seen him play against us twice, honestly, all season, and he impressed me. And he's coming up against Van Dijk and Tia and Canate. It was in both fixtures, weren't it? That he's coming up against, and if he's impressing you, coming up against the best central defender in the world and one of the most promising central defenders in the world, then you know he's got to be decent.
Yeah, I mean, Tino, Klopp doesn't spend big unless he has to. You know, the only real players we've seen him spend big are Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, two players who we at the time desperately needed. Clearly, Klopp sees something in Nunez that your average fan on Twitter hasn't seen, doesn't he?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. The fact that he's willing to spend that much money on a player really goes to show how highly he rates him. He's certainly going to do well at the club. He gives us something different. Something that we haven't got, as Matt's talked about, is not just in the air. The 6'2", he's very quick. He's instinctive. He's composed. It allows us to switch up our formation slightly if we want to. We could maybe go to a double pivot with Thiago and Fabinho sitting maybe as a 4-2-3-1, if I can say that right. He's without a shadow of a doubt a very talented player, and I'm just really excited. You look at him. You look at the big clubs that were interested. Obviously, United aside, you've got Atleti, some of the biggest clubs in the world interested in him, and Jürgen clearly sees the forward line is aging slightly, pushing 30s. We need to switch things up. A couple of players, Sadio Mane potentially leaving, Bobby pushing 30 as well. He needs to switch it up, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that.
100%. I mean, sort of breaking news, not really, but Neil Jones of Goal, who is fairly reliable, probably one of the best sources for Liverpool news, he's confirmed that Liverpool are prepared to pay a club record fee of more than 75 million to land Darwin Nunez. I think the fact that Liverpool are prepared to pay that pretty much comes to 100 million euros, just a little bit under. I think the fact that Liverpool are prepared to pay that means that it's happening, isn't it, Jay? I mean, there's 6 million, give or take, but I don't think the clubs will be haggling over that much considering it. But going on to the transfer, we've seen it in the past. Liverpool did it with Diogo Jota. We were paying 10 mil a season for him. Do you think that that's how this is going to be? I know 20 mil of it's in installments, which will probably be Liverpool winning the league, appearances and goals for him. But that 80 million, if we can get that in installments, let's say 20 mil a year for, the span of 4 years or even less. I mean, Julian Ward started off with an absolute masterclass if he can get that out of Benfica, can't he?
Yeah, it's definitely, mate, especially when you're seeing other clubs are willing to pay 100 million and stuff. I think Liverpool have been clever because what we've done is we've gone to Nunez and he's probably gone back to Benfica now and said, look, I only want Liverpool. So it puts Benfica in a weaker stance then, because even if another club offers more money, the player told you, I'm not asked, I don't want to go there, I want to go Liverpool. So then their hands sort of forced then. So yeah, the way we do transfers now, mate, it's just mad. Like, you don't hear about it and then bang, it's done like that. And I imagine this is going to happen the same way. I wouldn't be surprised if Joyce breaks it tonight at 10, to be honest, 10 o'clock-ish.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going to spend a bit more time on Nunez because it is the what's going on. We'll talk a little bit about Minamino and Ramsay and a bit on Sadio Mane as well. But just really quickly, please make sure you do leave a like on the video. There's over 180 people in here at the moment. So if you're new to the channel, there's definitely people who are new to the channel in this chat. Please subscribe to us. We produce content every day, streams at 7:30 every day. There's a video with Zach Lowy after the stream. Make sure you go and watch it. It's an in-depth analysis on it. So yeah, please subscribe. It helps us out a lot. And Ash with the £10, thank you so much. It's massively appreciated. And as we said, everything goes back into the channel. Ash said, name 5 gunmen number 9s in Europe under the age of 23. Haaland, Nunez, then you're struggling. I rather a fee was 60 in total, but this isn't my money, so don't care. Klopp wants him, so I'm on a Nunez train. Matty, that's pretty much it. It's not our money, is it? I mean, Helio asked a really good question. He said, does this change Liverpool's transfer strategy? Because we know the big money signings of Alisson and Van Dijk were both financed by Coutinho. But you could then argue we haven't really spent loads of money in the past 3 years, hasn't it? So it's a hard question what Helio's asked. But going back onto Ash's, you can't really name many under 23 strikers who are tall, pacey, great finishers. It probably is Haaland and Nunez, isn't it?
Yeah, he is built similar to Haaland. I'm not going to come out and say that he's going to be better than Haaland because we all know Haaland's like a freak of nature, to be fair. But if we're paying that much money, he's got to be up there. Like, I've only seen 180 minutes of him, and he impressed me, to be honest with you. I don't think it changes our transfer strategy because I don't think we've actually, by the time Nunez gets over the line, I think we'll pretty much counteract the money we pay for Nunez with the sales of Mane and Takumi Minamino. And then that's not factoring in Nico Williams, Nat Phillips, the Ox, all these outgoings will pretty much pay for Nunez, and his wages will pretty much probably be covered by the Ox's wages. I know Jay said that was earlier in the chat. So it pretty much we're getting Nunez and not breaking into the summer kitty, and we were promised a big summer this year. So I do think Liverpool will probably still go out and buy a central midfielder, whether they spend big on that. If they've been prepared to spend big on Darwin Nunez, why won't they go to Dortmund with 80 mil for Bellingham? Because I think you'd tempt them with that. They may not want to sell him this summer, but if they get an 80 million, then why not?
Yeah. Howdy, it's David. Thank you so much for a $10 donation. Massively appreciated it from everyone who has donated a stream in the past and in the present. Tino, David said 4-2-3-1, even with Mane sold. The potential lineups are incredible. It's absolutely the right move. And this is something that I was about to cover. The options that an actual striker brings to our team is unbelievable because, as I said before, we didn't have a striker. We were playing Jota, who's a left winger. You know, Mo was up there, who's a right winger. Mane was up there, who's a winger. And, you know, with Fabio Carvalho, and remember, we've still got Roberto Firmino, we can play that 4-2-3-1, which we know Klopp has been dying to play for years. Do you think that is probably going to be the lineup that we're going to be starting next season? You know, if maybe he might not push him straight into the lines, but I think that's the lineup that he's probably aiming for with this Nunez signing.
I think going forward, that's a line, that's a formation that we're going to see us transition into. Jurgen Klopp, as you've said, has been dying to try. He's been dying to try and evolve this squad and evolve the way we play to make sure we're not very one-dimensional and that we don't consistently play the same way over the last 3, 4, 5, however many years, to allow clubs to really understand and counteract that. And this is a guy who's certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, going to allow us to evolve and develop the manner and the style in which we play, as well, being that out-and-out number 9. Having said that, though, he is still very versatile. He's not just an out-and-out number 9. If at a push, you could play him out wide if you wanted to still have that 4-3-3 formation that Jurgen Klopp currently is addicted to. It really does allow us limitless options, really. You look at the midfield and how it switches up. Potentially, like I said earlier, a double pivot. that leaves Henderson on the bench, who's for the club has done brilliantly. You've got a lot of the young players coming through as well. Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, and the new lad from Fulham, Carvalho. So the way he not only switches up our front line, our attacking line, but also the rest of our team and the manner in which we could play is really, really exciting to see.
Yeah, Jay, it is a very exciting prospect. What, going into more of the starting 11, I mean, I personally expect Nunez to come straight into the team, if I'm being honest. What do you think? Again, there's a lot of uncertainties here. Mane's pretty much gone. The Mohamed Salah thing is still up in the air. I think there's still a possibility we could sell him this summer if he does refuse to sign a deal. But more on the starting from 3, or maybe that starting from 4. What do you think is going to be the best option for Klopp when he does come back? And remember, he's got a full preseason with Luis Diaz and Darwin Nunez, which is a scary prospect, isn't it?
I think Nunez will come straight in the 11. You don't spend 80 million, 100 million on a striker and put him on the bench. You just don't do it. I still think we really need a midfielder, and I completely agree with you. I think Salah could still go in the summer, which if he does, then yeah, we definitely need another forward as well, which be exciting as well as scary as losing Mo at the same time. But right now, if you gave me the team, his front 3 would be Diaz, Nunez, Salah, and I'd actually play Jota behind, do the 4-2-3-1, and I'd have Jota in the 10. Or Firmino, either of them can do it. And then Carvalho can play there as well, to be fair. So you've got loads of options. But I still think we need a midfielder who can come into the starting 11, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Again, guys, we've got 233 people in here. At the moment, we're currently sitting on 4,574 subscribers. There's definitely 26 people in this stream who aren't subscribed to the channel. So please sub to the channel. Let's try and get to 4,600. We're on the 5K train, and a lot of people know there'll be a quiz at the end of that, which we do love a good quiz on this channel. But yeah, again, guys, make sure you are liking the video and subscribe. It's going to be a long stream. We're going to keep going and talking about Nunez and all the other transfer stuff. But before we go on to the next topic, I just want to have everyone sort of quick thoughts on, do you think this puts the nail in the coffin on signing an unbelievable midfielder, 60 mil plus, like Aurelien Tchouameni? Matty, I know me and you are absolutely desperate for Jude Bellingham. I'm as hopeful as ever. I think we'll go in for him. I just don't think we'll sign him. But I mean, you can hit me with your optimism and tell me that we're going to sign Jude Bellingham too.
I do think it's possible. Like, people always say, Dortmund won't sell Haaland and Bellingham in the same summer, but they sold Goethe, Hummels, and someone else in the same summer. And the year before, lost Lewandowski, and I think it was Kagawa they sold in the same summer. So you will sell people. It's just if you put the money where the price is, and all that talk will wait till next year. Why? Bellingham will have another year's experience in it. He'll be better. All our rivals midfield will be a year older. I think the likes of City and that will probably go in for him next summer. I think getting Haaland probably dampen down much. I mean, I know they've got unlimited summer money, but I don't think they could get Bellingham and Haaland through within 1 year on the FFP and do anything else, to be honest. So I think we'll get Bellingham. I think you're mad if you think he's not special. You just need to watch him. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. He's generation. That's why Dortmund paid 25 million for him when he was 16. That's how good he is. But if we don't get him, I don't know who we'll get, because Klopp is stubborn and he'll wait. We've seen it with Van Dijk. We've seen it with Alisson. So we could maybe go into the season with ideally a midfielder down, because he'll wait for Bellingham, and that's the scary thing for me. I'd probably still go and get Nkunku, to be honest, because we're losing the likes of Minamino, Diox, etc. I'd get Nkunku because he can play centre mid as well as a little bit more attacking. So you've got the options in midfield and attack for him. So I do think we need another midfielder who would start, just because can Jordan Henderson, I know he played was like 80% of the games last year. Can he do that again this year? We've got Thiago who picks up a knock here and there. So I just hope we aren't stubborn, Harry. I really do, because I think we will be stubborn and wait for Bellingham if we can't get him this summer. But I think this summer's possible.
Yeah, Tino, you know, as Matty said, we are stubborn, but we also usually have like 2 or 3 backup options. And going into the summer, we all said we needed 2 midfielders, a striker, and a winger. Yes, we've signed a striker. I think there's still a possibility we sign a winger. We're in talks with a lot of players by the sounds of it, you know, and these aren't British journalists confirming this.
If Salah stays, if Salah does sign a new deal, do we realistically need another attacking option?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we do, without a shadow of a doubt.
I think we need some.
Nunez is ultimately replacing Mane. Diaz was ultimately Mane's long-term replacement. Then you've got Jota, who's like the flexible option. You've got Bobby.
Jota is shit on the wing though. Like,
yeah, no, but that's what I mean. You've got Bobby, Jota, Diaz, Nunez.
Exactly,
Salah.
And then you look at the wingers. You've only got 2 wingers who are good. You know, I think we need someone.
There, though, isn't he?
I think we need someone who can play on the right and left. Ideally, someone who's both-footed. Who that is, I don't know. I don't think it's Rafinha. But you know, Tino, going on to it, we're all getting a bit crazy. We've been given a little bit of money, and now we think we're signing everyone under the sun. The likelihood is Nunez is probably our big transfer, but I still think we need a midfielder. Could you see us signing one? You know, it looks like we're getting our business done early as well, which is a good sign.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of doubt, getting our business done early is a great sign. It avoids to a certain extent a lot of the monotonous rumours of the same players and the same transfer news week in, week out till the transfer window closes. Now we're potentially signing Nunez. I don't think we will. I think he's going to be our one main guy, and I think with Ox potentially leaving and a couple of others, I think Jurgen will rely heavily on Curtis Jones, on a couple of the other youngsters to come through, Carvalho coming in, potentially playing along that forward line and or in that attacking midfield role. I think he's going to rely quite heavily on the youngsters rather than bringing in another centre mid. I think that's the wrong decision. But then again, I'm not the manager of Liverpool Football Club, so who am I to tell Jurgen Klopp is wrong? I don't know who that'd be though in terms of bringing in a midfielder. You look at the names we've been linked with, and I don't see any of them being realistically signing this summer. Eriksen on a free potentially, like Ash has just said in the comment. I'd be a great signing. But again, I think his heart's set at going back to Tottenham. Because if he was going to stay at Brentford, surely he'd have signed a new deal already. I'm not sure. I really don't think we sign another midfielder as much as I'd really, really love us to.
Jay, I mean, looking as non-biased as possible, yes, as fans we want us to sign, you know, 1 million players in 1 million different positions and walk the league. But looking at a more realistic standpoint, can you see Liverpool now going out and you know, spending some more money on maybe like a decent midfielder, a decent winger, or do you think the rest of them are going to be, you know, cheap youngsters who can improve, or not cheap, but relatively affordable youngsters who can improve under Klopp?
Well, I'm not one of them fans who expects footy manager transfers, but this Darwin Nunez transfer, if it's 80 million, that's already nearly funded. So let's say Mane 40, Taki 17, Nico's 15, Nat Phillips is 15. You've made your money back. That's before Oxlade-Chamberlain's even been sold, who's on high wages. So Ox's wages already replace Nunez's wages, would replace Ox's. Then you've made 90 or 100 million off selling them players who barely get a sniff in the first team anyway. We surely had a transfer budget before even thinking of selling these players. So I don't see why they wouldn't be 100 million there to spend. Surely Liverpool has 100 million budget before we've even done the Nunez signing. The sales that we make cover that, and the wages cover it. So I see no reason why we can't go big on a midfielder. I think we should be.
100%. I'm still very strong on the midfielder train. I don't know why. I've just got a sneaky suspicion. Absolutely no sources from this. Me mayonnaise in the fridge, but I just think we're gonna poke Dortmund and see what they say. I think we might go in with like a 60 mil bid and see if if they're like, well, a few extra million, you might get him, but we need a midfielder. It's as straightforward as that. But yeah, so
being Phillips linked, but I don't even think I want him. Like how I rate
No.
Phillips, I do rate him. I think he's class, but I just don't think he's good enough for Liverpool. I don't think
He doesn't bring nothing new, Matty. That's what it is with him. He's what we've got, but a bit better. He doesn't bring any like forward passing or creativity or unlocking the defence. He hasn't got any of that. He's like Henderson, but better a little bit.
Yeah.
They want 60 mil from him as well, which, you add an extra 20 mil and you've got Dortmund seriously thinking about selling Jude Bellingham for that.
Makes so much more sense in terms of his English as well.
Yeah.
That's worth a lot in football, having a homegrown player, especially with the new rules and stuff. So we probably would spend big if it meant hitting a homegrown quota.
Yeah, definitely. Before we move on to the next topic, please, guys, there's 324 people in here. It's the most we've ever had in a stream. We're 12 away from 4,600 subscribers. So please leave a like on the video, subscribe, turn the bell notification on. There's a lot of new faces here, so there's definitely 12 people who aren't subscribed. So subscribe. Also for the regulars too, or if you do want to become a fan of the channel, we've got memberships with exclusive little things that you can get. We're working on that. We've made it sort of as cheap as possible or affordable. Again, guys, it's not a requirement. It's just to support the channel. If you do, we stream every day at 7:30, and there's usually 2 or 3 videos. Howdy, it's David. Appreciate that. More people like you, and we'll grow as a family. But the next
before that, Charlie, is that got any truth to it?
Sorry,
what Pavkata said.
Where's that? Can you bring it up?
About if Bellingham plays another year in Germany, he's not considered homegrown anymore.
No, because he played with Birmingham for so long. Basically, if you're under 20,
how many years did Musiala go to Bayern for before he could play for Germany? 3 years,
I don't know how that works, because I think that's a good point actually, because I think it might be between 16 and 21 that you have to play 3 years.
Went there, he was 16, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't know if that works as under. Honest to God, I don't know. I'd be surprised though if it wasn't, but I don't know the ins and outs about it. It might be true. If someone wants to look that up, please do.
Musiala playing for Germany though, that isn't because he played in Germany. It's because one of his parents are German, innit? So that doesn't matter if he played in Germany or not.
The one I'm thinking about is Madueke, who's English. He joined PSV when he was young, and he's not considered homegrown because he's too old. So I know you definitely have to play 3 consecutive seasons under the age of 21.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a start and date from that, because obviously there'll be a lot of players who joined clubs at like under 9 level.
That makes Bellingham a little bit more obtainable this year.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's another reason if it is true. Yeah, true that.
Yeah, definitely. I think Tino's searching it up. So
I'm literally doing it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So just interrupt me whenever you want. But the next one I'm going to go on to, Calvin Ramsay, who definitely isn't homegrown because he's Scottish, and for some reason you have to be Welsh or English. But sort of breaking news on Calvin Ramsay, Neil Jones has confirmed that Liverpool hope to seal the signing of the Aberdeen teenager for $4 million in the next few days. Matty, we finally got a Trent backup who seems happy to be a backup. It's something we've needed for a long time. Trent can finally get some rest. He's highly, highly rated in Scotland. It's a under the radar signing that we desperately needed, wasn't it?
It makes sense in terms of knock-on effect with other signings as well, really, because you're bringing in a backup for Trent for, 4.4 million it can rise to. So it's probably not that much that we're paying at the start. And then you're selling Nico Williams for probably 15 million to Fulham. So that's an 11 million pound profit on the right back position that can then go into the transfer kitty. So it does make sense. Nico was at that level now where there's a World Cup round the corner. He needs to be playing week in, week out. No hard feelings for him on that sense. But Ramsey's going to come in, and if you never know, he could be like Tsimikas in the sense of you feel comfortable giving Trent a game off to recharge and stuff like that because you've got that decent of enough right back. He's played in the Scottish Premier League. I know it's nowhere near as good as the Prem, but he's still played in and around a first team squad, a professional squad. So he's got that tiny bit of experience under his belt, and he's coming in as a backup, and we get to sell Nico. It's a no-brainer for me, really. And if he's not ready to play just yet, we've got Joe Gomez who can cover right back. So it makes sense completely for Liverpool to do that. And I think we all knew someone would be coming in because of Nico going. Who, by the way, I think his performance in the Wales game could probably boost his price up by at least another $500,000 because he was outstanding the other day.
Yeah, I mean, Tino, it's a good trade-off, isn't it? We sell Nico Williams for 15 million. We bring in someone younger, someone maybe a bit more similar to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who can learn under him if Trent, for some reason, ever wants to maybe turn into prime Stevie G for a few seasons. But it's a great deal, isn't it? We sell Williams and we get Ramsey in.
Yeah, it makes total sense. It makes total sense. It's something the club has kind of progressed towards over a number of years. Over the last 10 or so years, the club has really focused on quality young academy players rather than quantity. And then if they're not going to make the grade at Liverpool, you've still got an unbelievable player who you can sell for a decent amount of profit. I do wish Nico Gomez all the best, but it's clear to see I don't think he was a Liverpool right back, and he certainly isn't willing to wait around and learn more under Jürgen over the next couple of years. He clearly wants to be out and playing regularly. So to bring in someone like Calvin Ramsay, who's played a decent amount of games for Aberdeen this season, 33 games in what has been a somewhat disappointing season for them in Scotland. And considering how highly rated he is up there, is a very good move. We seem to be very focused on young players, bringing them through into the academy, playing a couple of seasons in and around the first team squad, and then spinning them for a profit if they don't really hit the heights that we expect them to. We see that a lot with the club. It's where we've been going over the last couple of years. So even if it doesn't work out, it's still a very low risk transfer.
Like Ben Davis.
Sorry?
It's like Ben Davis. I think you buy him low risk, sell him for a profit.
Yeah.
I think as well, Jay, you look at players, right backs at the moment, the world does seem to have an influx of great right backs, Tariq Lamptey, Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold. There's Jed Spence, who is reportedly going to be joining Tottenham for like 15, 20 million or something like that. If this Calvin Ramsay kid is as high, we spoke to Kieran Fleming, a journalist who covers Aberdeen, and Calvin Ramsay is like their shining star up there. Very highly rated, wonder, Writer's Young Player of the Year, I think, or the fans, one of them, in a team that didn't do too well in the league. So for 4 million, you can't complain, can you?
No, not at all, mate. As long as he doesn't turn out like Danny Wilson, if anyone remembers him. No, it's like what Matty said, mate, before. It's a no-brainer. We're going to get good money for Nico, who barely gets a sniff, and we're bringing in a kid who's younger, potentially has got as much potential as him, and it's for 4 million. So there's no risk involved. If it doesn't work out, you probably sell him at a similar fee back to Scotland or the Championship or whatever. So, yeah, it's a good transfer, mate. Young, good prospect.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with everything you've said there, Jay. It's a zero risk transfer. You probably, by the time he's 22, he will have said, we'll be able to say he's played for Liverpool. He could have won a few Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues, and we sell him for 15 million if he's rubbish. So
I think he comes in as well in a sense of like, look, he's playing with the captain of Scotland there. So if he's got to impress anyone, he's got to impress Andy Robertson. So if he's that consistent in training, Andy Robertson's going to say to Steve Clarke, you need to bring this kid up to Scotland. So he's got a point to prove there as well to get into the Scotland first team, and there's no better point to prove it than in front of the Scotland captain. So I think it's a no-brainer, and he's going to come with that bit between his teeth to prove everyone that can be great and successful.
100%. Again, guys, before we go on to the next topic, make sure you are leaving a like on the video. No clue how many likes we've got, but just like the video, it helps us out. We've hit 4,600 subscribers, which is crazy. So thank you so much for all the support. Let's keep on going up, and soon enough we'll be at 5k. But I get the bell notification on as well. Next story, Takumi Minamino. Liverpool have basically said that he can leave. Southampton, Leeds United, Wolves, Monaco, and Fulham are all interested in him. Liverpool have put a 17 million price tag on him, and his agent is currently in Europe receiving all them calls and trying to find him his best new club. Matty didn't make the splash that we thought he would, but 10 million profit. He was a massive part of us winning the EFL and FA Cup this season. You know, he's made this mark on Liverpool history, and we'll have fond memories of him, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, he's got more goals and assists this year than Jack Grealish, and he cost 100 million. So you want to put that into that perspective. But I've just had a look there. I didn't know he was 27.
Is he?
Yeah, he's 27, and that's which I think's a bit mad. And it's good profit, it's good business. It's a successful transfer, no matter what way you look at it. He's been very good for us this year when called upon. I don't think you can knock him for that. He didn't make the instant impact, but I do think this year, being what was he, 4th, 5th choice attacker, I think when he called upon, he done his job, and he done his job perfectly. And it's exactly what Liverpool would have wanted. He's performed enough this year that you can turn around and say, I won 17 million for him. And someone like Jesse Marsh, who worked with him at Salzburg he was at Salzburg for 5 years. So how long was Marsh there during that tenure? I'm not too sure. But someone who's worked with him before, he's going to be prepared to pay the 17 mil because he knows he's going to have the Minamino that faced us, the Minamino that was exciting. He knows how to get the best out of Minamino, and he's going to get minutes in that Leeds side. And I do think it's probably going to be one of them signings that in a few years you come back and think, why don't we sell him? I do think if he does go to Leeds, he'll be decent. To be honest with you, I really do. I think if you play him, he'll be decent. He was all right at Southampton as well. So good luck to him. Add more money into the war chest. But I will be sad to see him go. I will, I will. I think he's a decent little player who has never moaned. He's just been a squad option and been happy about it, and that's what you want, really.
Tino, I think what Matty finished on there is, a great thing. I don't think many Liverpool fans would be mad if he stayed there. Every club needs squad options, and he's proven this year that he can come in, he can score goals when called upon. He's not moaning about it. And honest to God, if Liverpool wanted to keep him and not cash in on that 17 million, I don't think many people would be mad, would you?
I mean, not particularly. The signing was very much for me, a commercial signing. One that, for low release clause, someone who isn't going to complain. You're guaranteed to make profit on him, whether he does well at the club or not. I don't think anybody expected him to set the world on fire. He's a decent squad option, as we've all mentioned. He's done brilliantly this season when called upon in the cups. I think he's our top domestic cup competition goal scorer off the top of my head, I believe. He's certainly a talented young lad, and he allowed us as well commercially to have a little bit of an avenue into a different market in Asia that we might necessarily not have had as much impact in. So commercially, the transfer made sense. Financially, the transfer made sense from, if you're looking at it just from a transfer fee perspective. And he's done fairly well for the club as a whole in terms of on the pitch. So whether we sell him or not, I don't think anybody can complain that this is a good or a bad deal. He's just one of those players that in 5, 10, 15 years time, you won't think, oh my God, how insane was he? But he's one that you look back with fond memories, kind of like Divock Origi to a certain extent. You look back and think he didn't do every game. He wasn't scoring 1,000,001 goals, but he's very much a cult hero, a figure that you look back and think he was a decent player, but and one who worked hard. It's very much like Dirk Kuyt, works hard, doesn't do much, complaining, guaranteed to graft. You can't go wrong with a player signing like that, and selling him for a profit is always a good shout.
Yeah, I think, maybe compare him a bit more to Maxi Rodriguez.
Maybe that's probably a good shout. Yeah,
I think Tino's right though with the commercial aspect, because United
100%.
Thing with Kagawa, he bought him, had him for 2 years, sold him back to Dortmund, and it branches out into that Asian market, really, doesn't it? Where it brings fans on, they watch your football, they fall in love with it, they spend money in your shop. It's commercially a no-brainer to buy players like that.
Yeah, obviously, you make so much money off players who are certain, heroes in their region, and we don't know how much Liverpool have earned off signing Minamino, but it's probably in the tens of millions. So commercially, it's a great signing. It's expanded the Liverpool market in East Asia, so it's a great signing. He's been a good player for us. But Jay, going more onto where he could end up, out of them 5 clubs are interested, who do you think would be the best suit for him, and do you see him succeeding in whatever club he joins?
Yeah, like it's been a brilliant little relationship with him, Mane. When he's come in, he's done what was asked of him. The commercial success, obviously, it brings into us. I go past Anfield nearly every day, to be fair, and I always see Asian fans with Minamino shirts, so it goes to show it's done its job commercially. And he gets to go away saying he's won a Premier League, an FA Cup and a League Cup, so it's raised his profile to the teams he's going to go to. But I think he'd smash it at Monaco. France is a bit of an easier league. I'm not saying he can't do it in the Prem, but I don't think he starts at Wolves. If Leeds keep on to Rafinha, I don't think he starts there either. So
I think he starts at Wolves because he had that relationship with Hwang, didn't he, at Salzburg? And he was frightening.
Maybe, lad, but they've got Neto, haven't they? And I don't know if they'll keep Trincao. I like Trincao, but he doesn't start many games, but I do like him. So yeah, I suppose he might get a start at Wolves. I suppose if you're going to spend 17 million and you're a club like Wolves, you'd have to play him. But I think he'll do well wherever he goes, mate, because he works hard and he's committed. So yeah, I hope he does do well. He's been boss for us, what we've asked of him. So wish him all the best.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's thanks for your service, Minamino. You'll always be thought of, but we need thanks for the 17 million. That'll be going to Darwin Nunez, so appreciate that. But again, guys, there's still over 200 people in this stream, so make sure you are leaving a like on the video. It helps us out a lot. Also, subscribe to the channel. Finally, there's loads of news. There's also a random one. West Ham are now interested in Oxlade-Chamberlain, but we'll save that for another day. Today's been a big news day, so we're focusing on 4 main things. But the next one is Bayern Munich sent a second offer for Sadio Mane, and prepare to be stunned with what the offer was. So it was £30 million. Only 23 million of that was guaranteed up front. The other 6.5 million was if Sadio Mane won the Ballon d'Or 3 times in a row in the next 3 years. I mean, Matty, it's a crazy ask, but if he was to win 3 Ballon d'Ors in the next 3 years, then surely it's worth more than 6.5 million.
I think what Liverpool should do is send our exact offer back to them, but change the name Manny to Lewandowski and see what their response is. Because it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. To win the Ballon d'Or, you've got to be the best player in the world. So to say it's only worth that much money is mad. It's mad. And fair play to Julian Ward standing his ground. They're probably testing the waters. It's no secret Liverpool have got a new man in charge of transfers. So there will probably be clubs testing the waters with Liverpool offering low ball offers to see if he takes them and stuff. I think I'd probably take about 35 million for Sadio Mane because he's got a year left on his deal and he's nearly 30. He's worth 100 million, but when he's only got 1 year left
up front, yeah, like you'd want 35 up front.
Yeah.
I think, Tino, Liverpool seemed, a lot of reports are saying that they want 42.5 million. There was reports from Bayern journalists and German journalists saying that Bayern Munich are looking at the Thiago deal, basically saying that when he let Thiago go, he was a similar age to Mane. He had 1 year left on his contract. However, what they're not taking into account was that was the first season after COVID, so the market was messed up. In response to that, Liverpool have basically said, well, you guys want 50 million for Lewandowski, who also has 1 year left on his contract and who is 3 years older. So Julian Ward so far is playing an absolute blinder against these very experienced negotiators, isn't he?
Well, he's lent off the best, hasn't he? He's lent off one of the best in world football in terms of negotiating deals and getting the best outcome for the club. I'm going to be gutted to see Sadio go. I have 6 years at the club, over 120 goals. He's been phenomenal for us. He's really that one spark at the start that really switched things up for Jürgen and the way he wanted to play. He's world class. I'd love to keep him for the year and just say, leave on a free. That's fine. I'd personally, I'd like that. Jürgen and the club have done that quite regularly with players in the past.
Do you not think, though, that they've done that with players who they can afford to lose? We weren't getting 42 million for Emre Can and Gini Wijnaldum. 42 million is half of what we're going to be paying for Darwin Nunez for a 29-year-old who has 1 year left on his contract.
Maybe, perhaps, but I'd still, from my heart says keep him. My head says it's decent money, 1 year left on his contract, but my heart is just desperate to keep him because I love him as a player, as most Liverpool fans do. But you can't really blame him for wanting to leave. He's achieved everything there is to achieve in the game club-wise at Liverpool Football Club. He's transformed into arguably one of the top 3 players forwards in the world. And one of the other ones is Mo Salah. So you can't blame him for wanting to leave, but I'm just, I'd love to keep him, but my head kind of just says, take the money, take 45 million, whatever you want, and just invest that in someone else, someone younger who you are guaranteed to get a long-term benefit off. I'm not talking about Nunez here, I'm talking about someone different, someone extra on top of Nunez.
Jay, I mean, we all love Sadio Mane. He's being fairly respectful about, the comments that came out were sarcastic and taken out of context by media. So, it's been reported that he has his heart set on Bayern Munich, and with Lewandowski leaving, he's going to be the star man. It guarantees him a league title next season, along with, 2 other cups, their league cups, domestic league cups. So you can't blame him for wanting to leave, and I think it's more than a fair price what Liverpool are going to be getting for him if he does depart.
No, totally, mate. Like, Bayern Munich are taking the piss by saying 23 million guaranteed. If you think Minamino's going for 17 And then you're talking about Mane going for 23, unless he wins 3 Ballon d'Ors. I appreciate he's got a year left, mate, but we're talking about one of the best forwards in the world. And you can compare it to the Thiago deal all you want. Forwards who get goals always cost more than midfielders. Forwards are what win games. I know midfielders can, but at the end of the day, goal scorers cost more money than any other player. So I'd want 35 million guaranteed. And if there's add-ons, great. If there isn't, I want at least 35 million for them, because the thing about it is Bayern Munich are being clever here, because they know Mane only wants them. So they're trying to sort of make Mane say, I want to move, to force his hand to move. But I'd go back to Bayern Munich and say, unless you start getting serious with an offer, we'll let him wait and go on a free, because 23 million's a joke.
There we go. I was muted. Yeah, I agree. I think, minimum 35 million. I think Liverpool would probably take that, but that has to be guaranteed. Can't be saying winning 3 Ballon d'Ors in a row. Like, as good as Sadio Mane is, he's not winning 3 Ballon d'Ors in a row. As simple as that. If the option was Sadio Mane wins the league 3 times in a row, then yeah, we take that, because
may as well pay it now.
Yeah.
The league.
Yeah, so that's more realistic. I think I think they're playing a joke on Julian Ward, trying to get him to be angry and stuff. But I think Julian Ward is going to be a surprise package for a lot of people. But unless anyone wants to talk about Darwin Nunez more, I think that might be it. I mean, I assume we're all happy with Darwin Nunez. Obviously not confirmed, but it looks like a good sign for the future, doesn't it?
Be confirmed by tomorrow, I think, by the club. Usually when you have Joyce and that talking about it gets confirmed a few days later. It happened with Carvalho and that, so I think it'll be official in a few days. When do we go back to pre-season? Is that next week?
It's July 7th.
So what's that, like 2 more weeks? Our business will be done by then. That's what I do think. Well, I think our business will be done by the end of this month. So expect a few busy weeks, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But again, guys, thank you everybody who donated for today's stream. We appreciate it massively. Also, everyone who's liked, subscribed. This is by far being our biggest stream. Please subscribe if you are not. Turn the bell notification on. We try and stream. Well, we do stream every day at 7:30. We try and upload at least twice a day, but more recently it's been like 3 times a day. So yeah, we've got a really good video with Zach Lowy on the channel, talking about Darwin Nunez in more detail. Go and check that video out. We'll be, as soon as the Darwin Nunez news breaks, we'll be live on the channel as well. There's a Discord server if you want to join. Loads of stuff going on. So we're not stopping anytime soon. Everything you need to know about Liverpool transfers will be happening on this channel. But Matty, Jay, Tino, thank you for joining. Make sure you go and check out all the lads. But I've been